It all starts with a dead girl. Not sure if I'm ready for this. I didn't expect this to be easy.
You look real scared. I'm sadness.
When things get personal, it just burns you from the inside out.
And your strength. Wait! Don't go!
Oh, God. If they only knew.
The Medium is a third-person, first-of-its-kind, dual-reality psychological horror thriller set in an abandoned communist resort. It takes inspiration from horror classics such as Silent Hill and the original Resident Evil, two games which, based on my age, you can bet your ass I haven't played. In it, you take control of Marianne, a medium with the ability to split herself between the mortal and spirit realms. The game was developed and published by Blooper Team, and is currently available for Xbox Series X and S and PC for $49.99. It's also on Game Pass at the time of review. The story begins with Marianne grieving after the death of her foster father. After helping him pass on, she receives a mysterious phone call from a man named Thomas, who tells her that he can explain her abilities and asks her to meet him at the abandoned Neva resort. Naturally, with zero hesitation or precautions taken, Marianne immediately rushes off to the resort to find the answers she's been looking for her whole life. As you might imagine, things escalate from there. It turns out that everyone in the resort died years earlier in a massacre, and the cause of said massacre is still unknown. After reaching the main building, Marianne quickly meets Sadness, the spirit of a little girl who offers to help her find Thomas. Of course, there also is to be a threat, and later on Marianne also encounters the Maw, a terrifying monstrosity who she has to flee from. One of the most surprising things about the story is the themes it covers, which were far more dark and uncomfortable than I was expecting, even for a horror game. No joke, this game's story is very M-rated. I won't spoil anything here, but the game handles these themes very well and tells an extremely engaging story from start to finish. Seriously, I stayed up very late one night and finished the entire back half of the game in one go. It's that gripping. The story is told both through in-game dialogue when Marianne is walking around and finding objects, and through excellently directed cutscenes that frequently take advantage of the game's dual reality setting. Sometimes the camera angle is different between worlds, and it's never not unsettling to see Marianne interacting with something in the spirit world while her real body interacts with nothing. It also helps that the performances are fantastic. Kelly Burke gives an emotional performance as Marianne, while Troy Baker gives a freaky vocal performance as the Maw, which scared me more than when it was actually attacking me.
It's fine, Jack. Hello? Are you all right?
Don't look at me!
Overall, the story is filled with great plot twists and turns, as well as some shocking reveals, and my eyes were glued to the screen whenever a major story beat was happening. Again, no spoilers here, but the ending is very bold, and you should not expect to have all of your questions answered, which I think is a good thing as it's given me quite a bit to think about. If you're looking for a mature story with themes rarely explored in games, I honestly feel that the game is worth playing, just for that. I played through the Medium on Xbox Series X, and its graphics are seriously impressive, both in and out of dual reality mode. Because the game uses fixed camera angles, each environment feels meticulously designed to be as detailed as possible, It really looks great, and the interactive objects also have extremely good models. Where the game's visuals impress the most, however, is in its several dual reality sections. Seeing both Marianne and the world around her from two very different visual perspectives is crazy to get used to at first, and it's awesome to look around a room and see how it differs between the mortal and spirit realms. The spirit world in particular is very impressive, and unsettling. I mean, a wall of skin? Ugh! There's also a few thrilling sections where the game switches back and forth between the two worlds instantaneously, and these were by far some of the most stunning moments in the game, both for visuals and for just how smooth everything runs. No frame rate issues here, folks. Gameplay in the medium is pretty straightforward. Most of the time, you'll walk through the very detailed environments searching for solutions to puzzles that are blocking your way forward. And these range from simply getting past a door to trying to find enough spirit energy to get past the extremely ferocious pack of moths in the next room.
Fuck!
Oh yeah, did I mention that you'll be frequently solving puzzles by using whatever objects or information you can find in both worlds? This is one of the game's biggest strengths, and it's satisfying to learn or find something in the spirit world that lets you get past an obstacle in the mortal one, and vice versa. As a medium, Marianne can use her abilities to sense things in the environment, and this is useful for finding stuff that you might miss otherwise. She can also temporarily leave her body in the mortal world and have an out-of-body experience, and you'll be using this a decent amount as well. The puzzles also get tougher and more involved as time goes on, so do your best to avoid getting frustrated and looking up the answers, as they're well designed and generally everything you need is in the immediate area. As you explore, you'll also find loads of collectibles that do a great job of adding to the lore and overall mystery. Some of these take the form of your standard exposition documents, while others are residual moments and memories that Marianne can sense in objects and the environment using her medium vision. Yeah. Seriously though, if you pick up an object and just hear this, that should be a pretty big red flag. While the puzzles and collectibles are great, unfortunately the same can't be said for the game's enemy encounters. Annoying spirit moths are easily countered just by finding spirit energy to maintain a shield long enough to get through them. And the maw, while absolutely terrifying at first, quickly becomes more of an annoyance when you have to get past it. It seems like the main weakness of the fixed camera system was that the developers were pretty limited in making encounters that were tense but not frustrating. Most of the time, you'll simply have to crouch walk through a couple of rooms without getting caught. So while the maw is an imposing adversary, it stops feeling threatening just a bit too quickly. There's also a mechanic where Marianne can hold her breath, but it's not really explained how this helps, and there's no clear indication of how long she can do it for at a time. All in all, the medium is not that long of a game, and will probably take most people 8 to 9 hours depending on how much they explore. While this may seem short, I want to stress that the game actually feels like it's quite a bit longer than this, even if the ending does sneak up pretty abruptly. The game doesn't outstay its welcome, and I truly hope we see a follow-up of some form in the future. And given the amount of unanswered questions at the end of the story, it definitely feels like that's a possibility. The soundtrack of the medium does a great job of adding tension and dread throughout the game. Composed by Akira Yamaoka, known for being the composer of the Silent Hill series, and, I'm totally gonna butcher this, Arkadiusz Reikowski, the music mainly consists of creepy and unsettling background melodies for the game's various locations, as well as a few more intense tracks for the game's more action-packed moments. There's also a few particularly memorable themes from some of the longer cutscenes, and a couple of great original songs, including a kick-ass end credits song, which is always awesome to see. Overall, the soundtrack does its job very well, and succeeded in at least making me on edge even when there wasn't an active threat. Why is this empty room so ominous? It's well worth picking up some of or the whole soundtrack if you like it. Especially that end credits song. The Medium is a fantastic horror game that does a pretty good job making use of a whole new style of gameplay. It's not perfect, and it has some noticeable flaws. But even though the enemy encounters leave a lot to be desired, the great puzzles, unique dual reality design, gorgeous graphics, and an absolutely phenomenal story make for a next-gen horror thriller that deserves to be experienced. I hope this isn't the last we see of this series or its ideas, because it is pretty damn great. If you're looking for a game with a fantastic story to binge over the weekend, The Medium is the game for you.
What the hell are you, Neva?
Alright, and with that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, subscribe for more videos coming soon, and until next time, remember, it all starts with a dead girl. And it all ends in me. You'll get that when you play the game. See you next time, everybody.